Chuck Shoot Podcast. Thank you for checking us out. It's good to be back. I've had some cancellations, but we're back. We have a really great guest today, Landon Milbourn, singer of the band Goodbye June. Even if you've never heard of this band, you probably heard their song Liberty Mother because it was in a Budweiser commercial a few years back. It was a pretty big commercial. That's how I found them. Thank God for Shazam. So I could figure out what the song was in the commercial because I'm like, I love this song. I don't really care about the commercial. But since then, they've had music on ESPN, NFL, TV shows, video games, all over the place. Plus, they toured with Greta Van Fleet, Badflower, ZZ Top, and they've done a ton of those big rock festivals, Shiprocked, Louder Than Life, all sorts of stuff. Definitely a band on the rise. This was a lot of fun, this interview, and we get a great surprise cameo from another great band in the interview. So check it out. Welcome to the podcast, Landon Milbourn of Goodbye June, singer, songwriter extraordinaire, right?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I try.
Well, yeah. So you guys have kind of an interesting background. So we'll get to the music, but I think your background's interesting. You were born in Atlanta, and then you moved to Nashville, and you come from a religious background and Pentecostal, if I'm not mistaken, right? So tell me about that, because I had some experience with that in college. There was a couple girls that I knew we were friends with, and I'd never heard of that religion before. But one thing I remember is they had to wear these long skirts. They couldn't wear dresses or pants or shorts. They had to wear. I don't think they wore pants. They had to wear long skirts every day, even in the summer.
Even in sports, they wore what you called culottes, which is like a half short, half skirt type thing, and you couldn't cut your hair. You couldn't cut your hair. You couldn't wear makeup. You couldn't, pierce your ears or anything like that. And the guys couldn't grow long hair. You had to have a clean shaven face. So it was interesting. I think it's transformed since then. I think they've kind of adapted a little bit more. But I wouldn't know, honestly, to 100% extent. But
do you or how do you go swimming then? Can you swim as a kid?
Well, when I was a kid, in certain areas, like there was no mixed bathing, and if there was, everybody was wearing like pants and full shirts. It was pretty weird. Like it was weird.
Okay, sure. Wow. And then you weren't allowed to go to the movies, I'm told, as well.
I went to the movies when I was like 9 or 10, and my parents were divorced, so my mom let me go, and I was scared that my dad would find out. I'll never forget that. It was like I went and watched Mighty Joe Young in the theater.
Oh, I remember that. It was like a King Kong kind of movie.
Yeah. And I remember being like scared, like, oh God, I hope nobody finds out that I went to the theater. And yeah, it was nuts.
Wow. So your parents were both your parents Pentecostal or just your dad?
Yeah, they were. And
they divorced? Isn't that against the religion?
Well, things happen, I guess. So
wow. So explain to me, like, because there's got to be some advantages and disadvantages to that. Like, did learning that structure at least help you learn discipline that you can apply as a musician in terms of like work ethic and things like that?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, my whole life was built around the church, but luckily my dad was a music minister. So like a lot of that was music. So that helped me, find my love and passion for music, because when I was a kid growing up, my dad always wanted me to sing, and I was like, no, I want to be a drummer. And he literally forced me to sing. Like I hated singing. I was not a fan. But he was like, no, you've got a good voice, sing. And he used to, like, I've said this before in interviews, but he used to like make me sing old Whitney Houston records and like hit the high notes and like stuff like that. So like,
and you could do that. You could hit the high notes on those. Like, could you sing "I Will Always Love You"? That's a hard one.
Even before that, I think it was "That's Just an Old Fantasy." What was that song? I can't remember the title of it. I think it was right before "I Will Always Love You."
Okay.
But yeah, exactly. Yeah, he would make me do all that stuff.
That's not easy.
I'm thankful for it. So.
Yeah. Can you still hit those notes?
I think so. I mean,
yeah,
we could find out at some point.
You're not going to be doing a Goodbye June cover of Whitney Houston is what you're saying. Like,
Not anytime soon, but
Okay.
she's a fantastic artist. So
Oh,
who knows?
absolutely. Yeah. So,
I don't leave anybody out on the table. That's for sure.
yeah. So going back to the religion for a second there, do you feel like, did people have preconceived notions about you because of the religion? Because I feel like whether it be good or bad, in other words, like people automatically, they think you're a good person because you're a Christian, or they don't like you because you're a Christian. Did you notice that growing up and being in that with the Pentecostal stuff?
Yeah, I think you kind of had this layer built up in front of you that was, you didn't perceive the real world as the real world. You were kind of in your own little bubble.
Huh.
So the normal world was kind of foreign to you, if that makes sense. And looking back now, yeah, absolutely, I can see, even in my like teenage years, like young teenage years, like girls that I would love to have dated, but they weren't the right, religion, so I couldn't date them, and they didn't, have that same background that I did. I think that was something that was a little weird. But looking back now, yeah, you can definitely see the hesitancy, I guess.
Sure. Now, so are you still in the religion, or are you taking a step back, or like, where are you now with that kind of stuff?
I've been living my own life for the last, decade plus 2 years, probably, like,
okay.
Trying to find your own way as everybody else is, I guess.
Yeah. And your parents are okay with that? There's not like a blowout or anything because you're not going to.
Yeah, I don't think so,
Okay.
man. I think they know that I'm my own man, and trying to find my own way, my own view on life, and
sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, so then getting into the music, so because that obviously affected like what kind of music you could listen to. So you first kind of discovered rock you obviously discovered all the gospel music and stuff like that, but then the only rock group you could listen to was DC Talk, right? Because they were the only rock one.
Yeah.
And then
dude, you've done your research. I love that.
Yes, I do my research. So then when like you said, you like the song, One Headlight, which I also love that song by Jacob Dylan, and you got into that kind of 90s rock. Was that kind of like, you have to sneak that, or were your parents a little more lenient as you got older?
When I was a kid, I always had split custody with my parents, so my mom was always a little bit cooler with that stuff.
It's always one. My mom was the cooler one too. My dad was the more strict. So I remember like I had a tape of NWA. My parents would not let me listen. But I did you ever do this trick where you put it on a blank tape and then you write something else on the?
Oh, 100%. From tapes all the way up to burnable CDs. I went to a private school, a Christian school. And all of us, we learned the hack of, burning CDs and labeling it like super Christian groups. But then we're listening to Metallica, and we're listening to Nirvana and Bush and all this stuff. It was the 90s. So
so that's funny. Even
that was a great hack.
You couldn't even listen to Bush and Metallica, huh?
Not really.
Wow.
But my mom was cool. Like every time I saw her, she would let me turn it on the local like rock station, and even like oldies and stuff. And I got, a little diverse and different music that I normally wouldn't have listened to, which was cool.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a hide and seek game, around the church.
Yeah. So you and I, your parents were more strict than mine then, but yeah. So the Beatles, were your parents, and even the Beatles, was that off limits too? That was a big influence for you too, right?
I think if it was like the old stuff, if it was played on the oldies station, I don't think they cared.
Oh, okay. So that's a little bit.
Much,
Yeah. So when did you join, before Goodbye June? What was your first band, or there must have been other bands before that, right?
Yeah, I was 15 years old, and me and Brandon, who's in Goodbye June, my cousin, he's a guitarist. We were in a band when I was 15, and we started playing bars and stuff. And I had to get kind of snuck in, and I remember like my dad not being happy about it, like just for whatever reason,
sure.
But it was cool. Like started playing the local music scene in West Tennessee. That's where I kind of grew up, and just kind of getting my teeth cut in at a young age around all these other bands. There was a band out of West Tennessee called One Less Reason that had like minimal success at the time, and we were doing shows with them, and some other bands just at small venues. But like that first experience in my life of playing in front of people at that young of age. It was really cool. Like, I was like, this is what I've always wanted to do, you know?
And you were singer in all these, or did you, cause you play guitar too, right? Or
I do. Yeah. I started out playing drums, actually.
You really did? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. That was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a drummer.
So you must play it all then. You must play drums, guitar. Do you play bass too a little bit?
I mess around with all of it. I wouldn't call me a champion of any of it.
Okay.
But I like playing everything.
That's really cool.
Yeah. You know, you try to just grow as you learn. So
no, that's really neat. Yeah.
It was cool. Like being 16 and like, some of the door guys being like, you're fine. And they give you a beer pass, even though I didn't drink the beer. That would not happen in today's day and age.
Well, now you know why your dad didn't want you to go to those shows when you're 16. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So you cut your teeth playing in all these bands locally. And so until how you guys formed Goodbye June. So I think if people don't know the story, what happened was it was your cousin, Tyler's brother, had died in June, and you guys spent that month writing music. So you guys are all cousins. But now you guys seem to be too young to have a brother to die so young. What happened? That was one thing I could not find out how Tyler's brother died.
He had just got a brand new Z06 Corvette, and he was a fearless dude. Had the heart of a champion. He was like the guy that we all looked up to, because at the time he was the oldest, and just a beautiful human being, like a very strong, masculine. He wasn't a big guy. He was probably actually a little shorter than me, honestly, and definitely weighed less than me, but he was just, his tenacity and his attitude was just bigger than life, you know? And he was born to take on the world, and just a beautiful human being. And, you know, you didn't mess with Shane. You know, if you were in Shane's circle, then you were protected, but he was a beautiful human being. And he died in a car wreck, unfortunately, when he was 23 in 2005. And so us three, we had wanted to do music together. Me and Brandon had already started, like I said, when I was younger, but we always wanted Tyler in the band because he was a great guitarist. And after Shane's passing, that really brought us all together and made us want to, I think we started out just by like, you know, life's so short. Let's memorialize Shane in a way that he can live forever. And let's try to do what we want to do, you know, besides working corporate jobs or, you know, whatever it is that, you know, people do. And yeah.
Wow.
It was an eye-opening thing for us to just, you know, go for it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of terrible tragedy, but at the same time, I mean, that's what I feel like. There's one good thing that happens when people die. It does bring a lot of other people closer together. And it does kind of, like when my grandparents died, even it kind of wakes you up like, whoa, okay. Like life is short. I mean, even if it's your grandparents, I mean, it makes you realize like people aren't going to be around forever. You're not going to be around forever. So, you know, get to it. So it's what you guys did. You started the band. And then you guys were working jobs 40 to 50 hours a week, I heard. And then doing the music at night, 3 to 4 nights a week. So what day jobs were you guys working during that time when you first started out?
When we first moved to Nashville, it was 2009, and I landed a gig at a corporate job, actually. I was 21 years old. I was the youngest guy on the sales force, like didn't have a college degree. I had college experience, but I had dropped out to move to Nashville. And I was working that. Tyler was working the same job with me there. Brandon was working another job, but yeah, we were, I was smiling and dialing is what we called it.
Oh, you know? No. Were you phone sales?
But we had outside reps. We were a reputable, you know, company. I was making good money. I was actually making great money, to be honest, especially for a 21-year-old.
Were you, did you cold call then, or did you?
Kind of a little bit of both. You know, you had a little bit of, you know, retention base.
Oh, okay. Well, that's nice.
And yeah.
So you're doing okay. So you're
both sides.
Yeah. So you're doing that 3 or 4 nights a week. You're doing the music stuff. Now, I think the way the story goes, you're handing out demos and then some producer found you and he let you work on the songs in his studio. Who was that producer? Has he worked with other acts? Was he a big guy or a big name guy or?
He was a Nashville cat. Him and his dad had been around for a while, and I think they worked with country singers like Andy Griggs, which he had like a hit back in the day, and
Okay.
you know, nothing like anything like we were doing. And it was just a random find. I think it was a yard sale. Tyler met him, and that kind of got us started into the Nashville music scene, if you will.
But he must have believed in you to let you do that. Right? Yeah. Really?
Like back then it was like the music industry's changed so much. I mean, now Nashville's not just country, it's rock, it's hip hop, everything. You know, you've got label representation from all the major pop, you know, whatever. But back then it was kind of, you know, new and whatever. So
but he must have believed in you, right? Enough to give you that time and space and help. And
absolutely.
That's cool.
We're thankful for that, but that led us on to bigger, you know, doors opening, and you know, we did a deal with Interscope for our first record, and that all came from that, you know, kind of road, I guess, that we traveled down.
Is it true that you wrote 80 songs during this era? Like it was about 80 songs around that time before?
I would say there was that or more, before we put out Magic Valley, for sure.
And all three of you are songwriters, right? Like that's kind of unusual. It's usually one person's the songwriter or a duo. It's all three of you working on all the songs together, not just one person bringing a song, right?
Yeah, we all have our strong suits, but at the end of the day, we all kind of dabble in everything. So I think that's what makes us, you know, work as well as we can. But we're family too, so like we can hash it out behind closed doors and then make it work, you know?
Yeah.
There's a beautiful process.
Yeah. So the 2016, I think, was this before you guys got signed, where the Oh No song that kind of blew up on the radio? It hit the rock charts. Was that before you got signed?
I think, no, that got put out when we did get signed, but the song before was Daisy. That had been around since like 2014, and it was getting played on radio stations, and especially like the local, you know, Nashville station was playing us a bunch, and we were doing festivals here and playing a lot in town before we started touring a bunch and stuff.
Okay.
And, yeah. So Nashville, I mean, when you find the good group of people, they believe in you. And once you get in that group, I mean, I feel like people got your back for the most part, you know?
Yeah. So part of the thing, part of the thing that you signed with Interscope, but you also made a deal with a publisher, and then that allowed you didn't have to work the full-time jobs anymore. Right. And I think this is how I found you guys actually in 2017. You did a beer commercial and the song Liberty Mother. It's actually like a bonus track, which is interesting. It's such a good song, but I remember like I Shazammed the song. That's what's so cool about, you know, technology. And I'm like, what is this song from this commercial? I don't remember anything else about the commercial, but I remember the song. And so that's how I found you. Talk about how that came about, how you got that Budweiser commercial. That must have been pretty lucrative.
We met this girl named Taylor. She was working with Budweiser at the time, and huge fan of the band, super sweetheart. And we were on tour with this band called Badflower. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Oh yeah, Badflower, absolutely, yeah.
But,
I'll get to that.
But yeah, we were on tour with them when that started airing, and we were just super stoked out of our minds. Speaking of Badflower, they're actually right here.
What?
That's Joey.
What's up?
Down there.
Hey guys. That's awesome.
So I've got some people listening to me right now. So
that's very cool. Yeah. What's up? You guys want to do my show next? I have to do my research though. You know, it's going to take like a week or so to get all my notes and everything, but yeah, so that's awesome. How come that song was never released as a single? I thought that song was so good. I think it's one of your best songs.
You know, that's a great question. I have no idea, but it resonated well.
Yeah,
we enjoyed it. I remember we were on tour the first time I heard it. I think we were in Columbus, Ohio, or somewhere, and we were at a Buffalo Wild Wings, and we saw the commercial air, and that's the first time we ever heard us like on TV, like on a national scale, you know? And that was cool, man. It's like that scene, like you remember the movie The Wonders, or That Thing You Do?
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
When they first hear their song on the radio, like that was how it felt to us. Like we're like, yes, God damn it, we did it. We got on national, TV. We're getting played all the time. That was a really cool experience for us, and we were like giddy schoolgirls, man.
Did you stand up on top of the table and say, "That's my motherfucking song"? Like that's what I would have done. I would have been pumped. That is awesome.
No, I don't think so. But
okay, not that giddy.
Maybe. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. I think I was pretty drunk at the time that we heard it. So I honestly don't remember.
All right. You're celebrating. That's good. And then you had some other licensing things. The Madden 17. The NFL played, the WWE, ESPN, all these. What else? Is there other stuff that you already had your songs played?
Yeah, we did some, like a bunch of TV shows that I never had watched until they added us, which was cool, like Vampire Diaries and like Lucifer, like all these shows that I would have never watched. And they added us, and that was cool.
Yeah.
So
is it the same? Is it mostly the same song they're playing, or is it a variety of different songs?
I think it was a variety, like Darlin', and Oh No, and Liberty Mother, and Charge Up the Power, like a few of those songs. So many good songs.
So yeah, tell me, do you think that's like is that still your bread and butter in terms of like income as a band, is the licensing stuff? Because obviously you can't make as much off streaming and record sales anymore.
I mean, it definitely helps. But obviously, as everyone knows, touring is a huge component of that. And obviously 2020 has been a tough year for all bands, as you well know.
Yeah.
All artists of any type of artistry, honestly. But it's been a learning curve. I think, bands are finding out new ways to engage with their audience and to make it more personable and to do private shows and all that type of stuff. Like 2020 has definitely changed the game. And we're just all trying to adapt. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's where we all are, man. It's been a hell of a year.
Well, so yeah, you toured with Badflower, and so not, I guess you're gonna have to you can't talk shit because they're right there. But tell me about touring with those guys.
No, I want to hear it. Say whatever. Pretend we're not here.
Yeah, pretend they're not
talk
here.
The shit. No, I just heard. I just wanted to know about that tour. I heard those guys can party pretty hard. I've talked to some other musicians that said they're pretty fun to hang out with.
Hey,
I mean,
we're following them.
I could drink all of them under the table. Let's be honest.
Hang on a second. We can party hard when it's time. Typically on tour we don't. This is the guy who would get so drunk. Like we had a cactus in our van.
Okay.
At the time. This is like one of my favorite stories.
This is where it gets good.
We had a cactus sitting like in the cup holder that a fan gave to us, like as a gift. Like, here's a cactus. Really awful gift for a touring band. Like, what do you do with a cactus?
Like
it was in their cup holder.
It's a cup or like a figurine?
It was a sweet gift,
an actual cactus.
We're stuffed in all of us in a van and trailer together. Like, what do we do with a cactus?
Okay.
But we kept it in the cup holder, so anybody who'd reach for their coffee would be like, fuck. But he one night got so drunk, we were like, hey man, you're getting really close to this cactus, be careful. And he just took his hand and went, stares at it. Pow!
Yeah.
Oh!
And he completely fucked up his hand. And then we're like, Landon, that's awful. And so his friend, like, everybody's trying to pick this.
Everybody pulled the needles out.
Needles.
Yeah.
And after they got all the needles out, he goes,
again.
Oh my
God. This is a guy who parties. We don't party.
Guess not.
Party. I just get a little blacked out.
I mean, we party now. We didn't party on that tour, but
gotcha.
So
okay. That sounds so painful. There's got to be blood on that, right? It's not like acupuncture. They're not like meant to go into your skin.
Oh, well, I mean, it just kind of pierces your whole palm, and you have to pull each needle out and all that stuff. But
you know what I'm thinking of right now? I'm thinking of that scene in Almost Famous where the guy's on the roof and he's like, I am a golden god. I feel like that's you. Was you just on booze or were you taking something else?
No, I was just high on life, man.
Okay.
I honestly think that was Seattle.
Hey, that's where I'm from. Nice.
It was Seattle.
Okay.
And because we had played the Troubadour like 4 nights prior, and that same night their whole rig got broken into and they got a bunch of stuff stolen, so they couldn't make the next show in San Jose.
No, it was.
Where was
Santa Cruz. That was in
Santa
that
Cruz and
somewhere
close to San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
And so they couldn't make the next 2 shows. So we did the shows ourselves. And actually, Joey's dad came out and bought us beers and stuff. But then that next show, they came out and met us at Seattle. And we were so happy to see him again because we missed him.
What venue did you do in Seattle?
Shows without him.
Which venue was it in Seattle? Which venue did you play? You remember?
Jeez, I have no idea. I remember the loading dock.
The Seattle, I remember that not being a very good show.
It was there wasn't a lot of people there. I think there was probably 15, 20 people there, maybe.
Stage, you can only put a drum set on.
Yeah, literally the stage was tiny.
That's cool. So then
that was a heck of a tour.
And then you played Shiprocked with Badflower also, right?
Yeah. That was the last real thing that we did before COVID.
Tell me about this. I heard that you had to sneak tequila into a wine bottle to get it onto the boat or something. How does that work?
I didn't do that. But I had some friends that did.
Because you're allowed to bring wine, but not tequila. Is that the rule?
Yeah, you can bring wine. You can bring 2 bottles of wine, and they were looking up this way to like syringe tequila into a wine bottle and then reseal it and make it look legit. Now all the Shiprock people are going to be like, "Fuck these guys!" But
that is so funny.
But yeah, we pulled all the punches for sure. But that was a great time. We were on there with Joyous Wolf as well, which you interviewed.
Yeah, I love them. They're great. He is an interesting guy to talk to too. He's like really. My girlfriend, he was like, he's got like that rock star. Like he probably doesn't want to hear us say that, but he just seems like that presence. Like he's very like introspective and. Yeah.
He's a very unique individual, and I did his little.
That's right. I listened to that.
Yeah.
So talking with singers or something like that, right?
Yeah. And he's a great dude and great band, and looking forward to seeing what they do in the future. But yeah, it was a great time on Shiprocked. Like I said, that was the last like real show we did up until the pandemic hit. So it holds a special place in my heart.
For sure.
And honestly, the best thing about that cruise, our band got to host a bingo game, which was like for money.
Oh, okay.
And we all were sharing the mic, and even more than the shows that we did, which the shows were amazing, hosting a bingo game and like commenting and commentating like people and degrading people, in humor, of course, was like one of the greatest parts of that cruise. Like it was a great time. I think I could be a full-time bingo. For sure.
Really? I want to go. I've never been on a cruise at all. I want to go on one of these Shiprock cruise or one of these rock cruises. Sounds amazing.
I wouldn't do a cruise unless it was something like that, honestly, because I've been on normal cruises. This was way more fun.
Okay.
Honestly.
Very cool. What about, tell me about touring with Greta Van Fleet. You got to open for them. Yeah. I mean, they got to be one of them and Rival Sons are probably 2 of the biggest rock bands around right now. Were the shows sold out? Were they packed? Was it pretty crazy?
Yeah, we started touring with them right after the Badflower tour in 2017, and we were playing small clubs and all over the Southeast and wherever it was, and it was cool to watch them kind of grow because they started out in a van when we went on tour with them, and then shortly thereafter they blew up, and it was cool. They're good dudes. They live in Nashville now. As well as the Badflower guys, and
everybody's there.
That was cool to watch them grow and watch the Badflower guys grow, and everybody. It's cool to see rock have a good, solid representation. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
good music coming out.
There's so much coming out right now.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then what about the Kings of Leon? You actually went to the same private school as those guys. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're friends with them, and you grew up with them?
Their dad was an evangelist at the time where my dad was a music minister. So we kind of grew up with them. They were around for about 5 years before, they left. And they're crazy stuff.
You've never toured with them or done shows with them, though?
No, we had one scheduled in Madrid this past year, but it didn't happen. It was at a festival called Mad Cool, which was like tons of cool artists, like all genres. Like I think there's like Deftones and Alt J and like Taylor Swift and all these people that were originally scheduled, and then it got canceled, obviously. But
yeah, so who else have you guys toured with? Is there anyone else? Because it seems you've done a lot of those festivals, the Louder Than Life Download Festival. Like, what were some of the other memorable? I mean, ZZ Top. I know you guys toured with them for a little bit. That must have been fun.
Yeah, that was cool. I think the coolest part about that was playing the Ryman in Nashville, because that was our first and only Ryman show, which is like the mother church of country music, and getting to play there as any musician, it's a holy sacred process that you get to be a part of, and it was cool being on that stage. We were supposed to play there November 21st with Whiskey Myers, but that got canceled again. But yeah, it was beautiful.
How many people fit into that place?
Whiskey shivers. What's that?
How many people fit into this venue that you're talking about? What's it called again? The
Ryman?
Ryman, yeah.
Oh, the Ryman? Oh, Jesus.
It's big.
Everybody you can think of.
No, but how many people does it hold? So it's like 5,000 seater?
It can hold like 2,100 people, maybe, something like that.
Okay, that's a good size for sure.
Church, downtown Nashville. It's only a few blocks away from where the bomb went off, actually.
Yeah, that was rough, man. So were you near that or around that?
It's considered one of the best acoustic places, like as far as acoustics in the actual room. Like, yeah, it's amazing, and everybody's played there. Like, go look it up.
Okay. I went to the what's the other big church in Nashville that's really famous? I forget the name of it.
Studio. There's a church studio that is it Jay Joyce does studio? I don't know. No,
I'm trying to blank. But anyways, I went there. So tell me about tell me about the new album that you guys have going out right now. Community Inn is what it's called. You got like 4 singles from this thing. But it doesn't look like they played any on the radio or like on the charts or whatever. Does that stuff even matter? Because you're getting millions of listens on Spotify.
Yeah. We got a lot of love in Europe, honestly, off this last record. And, COVID didn't help with like United States presence and stuff, because we had what I would call our biggest touring year ever, like set up, we were going to be all over Europe. We were going to be all over North America and supporting that record, and COVID kind of killed that. But it did have really good success, more success in Europe and the UK and Germany and all those places. And we're really proud of that record. And, it's just kind of a capture in time, I guess you could say. Like it is what it is. It's 2020 COVID. But yeah, we had a great time doing that record. Bobby Huff was the producer of that. And now we're working on our 3rd LP, which we're actually going to be starting officially the 1st of January, which is tomorrow.
Wow, that's exciting!
And, we're starting officially our next record. The whole month of January, we're going to be in the studio, so we're super excited about it.
So is it all written, and you're just going to be recording it, or are you doing songwriting and recording at the same time?
It's mostly written, but I think we're leaving room for like some, some other stuff to happen.
Or would you try to maybe redo a song that didn't make the first LP, because you said like more than 80 songs, or any of those you want to bring back to life for this record?
Well, Community Inn, we actually did that with 2 or 3 songs. Universal Mega Love, Rolling Off the Tongue. Those were songs that have been around for years. And this album, there might be one or 2 at max that pop up, but for the most part, it's a new direction. It's a new feel. We're really channeling we're channeling our inner AC/DC Van Halen with a mix of our favorite bands like Badflower and Badflower.
Another shout.
I gotta keep building their ego,
For sure. No, so do you guys not have a drummer currently? Because I couldn't find one listed on like your website or Wikipedia. Are you looking for a drummer or?
No, we've had the same drummer for 8 years on tour, Kevin Smith. He's a beast, and he's going to be a part of this next record. And our last 2 records, recording wise, was a guy named Nathan Sexton, which he's an old friend of mine. I've known him since I was 10. He used to play for the country artist Justin Moore. Badass drummer. Just so we've always surrounded ourselves with those 2 guys the last 8 years. And they kind of had different roles.
Interesting. Why use one for recording and one for touring?
Logistics made sense.
Okay.
Stylistic, it just made sense. Overall, it made sense for that. People's lifestyles, different things like that. Nashville's a very studio session and then live band thing. We kind of steal a little bit from that, but we also intermingle. So it's weird. We just do what we feel is best at the time. And we have such a great group of people around us. So
absolutely. Yeah. So besides the new album, what other plans do you have? Are there any tours or festivals lined up that would, hopefully not get canceled, or are you going to just wait to see what happens with I
think we're kind of waiting. We've had some confirmed, like the Mad Cool Fest in Madrid. I think we're back on that lineup. It's for July, but and I know we got some stuff in the UK and around there. And I think the Wimmer festivals they're coming back in, but nobody really knows like what's going to happen with touring right now. So it's kind of up in the air. No,
that's smart to just record then.
We're just open, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully you come down to Phoenix and do a show down here. I'd love to catch you. Or I drive for some shows if it's not too far, if California or Vegas or something. I don't know when they'll
I think there's a restaurant there that I ate at. It was like one of my favorite. It was in Flagstaff. It was called City Hall.
Oh, yeah.
You ever heard of it?
Yeah. Wait, Mastro City Hall or a different one?
I can't remember.
Okay, I'll check that out.
It's been like 10 years.
Flagstaff's great. You do shows in Flagstaff? Okay, nice.
No, this was like a random thing I did years ago, and it was one of the best meals I ever had in my life. I don't remember if that's the name or not. I'm guessing.
What kind of food was it?
Like that. Like seafood, steak, all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that it's like really fancy, right?
Yeah.
Real
fancy schmancy.
Yeah, no,
that's fancier than I.
What about in Nashville? Is there a good place to go down there? When I went there last year for the NFL draft, or like a year and a half ago, there were so many good restaurants. It was insane.
Oh, you were here for the draft?
Yeah, that was the only time I've been there.
There was so many people downtown. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was amazing. I asked, is it always like that? And they said, yeah, it's always like this downtown, even when there's not. Is that true?
It can be pretty crowded. Yeah. Obviously pre-COVID. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
But it can be very Bourbon Street-esque at times.
It was a lot of fun.
You get a little rowdy, but
I was just amazed.
Nashville, it's a party town for sure.
Yeah, I was just amazed how much live music was everywhere. It was like literally everywhere we went, there was live music. There's like 4 bands playing at the airport. I mean, our Uber driver told us there was a live band at McDonald's. I just couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely my kind of.
They're building a Taco Bell downtown that's going to have a stage and everything. Like,
oh my God.
A Taco Bell with live music.
A Taco Bell with live music. I mean, that just basically is my heaven right there. That's amazing.
I know. Me too, man. Come on down.
Yeah.
Let's go.
For sure. I'm definitely, because you guys are still in Nashville, right? You're living there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll definitely have to come visit again if I don't move there. So I talked to so many musicians. Very cool. Well, I like to end each episode with a charity that you want to highlight. Is there a charity that you work with or a nonprofit or something like that?
Man, I don't really have a charity that can come to mind, but one thing we've done a lot, and we did several years ago, is we did several shows with St. Jude Hospital, they have recently been doing work on COVID stuff as well, and found some great discoveries with that, and that's a great hospital to give money to. So St. Jude Hospital all the way. They're helping kids, and
I've had a few people
free to the families, and treatment, everything. They lodge the families. They take care of everybody. So that's a great organization to get to.
Okay, awesome, for sure. Yeah, and then I mean, that's definitely a good one. I've had a lot of musicians mention that one. So yeah, if people have a few extra bucks, I know times are tough right now, but hopefully everything gets back to normal. I'd love to see you guys do a show. I'm definitely a fan. So thank you so much for doing this, Landon. I really appreciate it. Look forward to new music.
Man, I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. Let's have a beer sometime soon.
Absolutely. I'd love that. That'd be amazing. And hang out with the Badflower guys too. Tell them to do my podcast. Tell them how great it was.
Oh man, they're pretty rude people. So who knows?
That's cool. All right. You guys have fun. I'll let you get back to it.
Hey, Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah,
God
you
bless.
too. All right. Bye-bye. Landon Milbourn, singer of Goodbye June. Super cool dude. I want to thank him for coming on my show. And thanks to Josh of Badflower for his little cameo. And hopefully he'll do my show in the future. So make sure to follow Goodbye June and Landon on social media so you can keep up with them. Sounds like new music is on the way, and hopefully more shows will come about soon as well. If you enjoyed this interview, let me know in the comments on social media or on YouTube. And make sure to follow me or subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss any future content. You can also check out some of the other interviews I've done with some great bands like Joyous Wolf, Blacktop Mojo, Of Limbo, Them Evils, so many more. So thank you so much for listening. And remember, shoot for the moon.